fall for the dinner sex exchange. This screenshot right here was posted to our Discord a while ago. You can pause real quick to read through. So, this is one of our own guys, an aspiring all-maxer, and I want to give him some heartfelt advice. And before you make any judgments, I've seen what this guy looks like, and is actually an extremely jacked, lean, attractive-looking young guy. I see this dinner for sex expectation happen to many people across the board. Some more openly in the manosphere, and some more sneakily on the virtue-signaling all-manner side of things. Attractive, unattractive, doesn't really matter. There's a good reason why I don't recommend these kinds of dinner dates. And in this video, we're going to cover why that is, and I'm going to give you an extremely important concept that'll help you provide for her in the right way. In this screenshot that our boy sent, we see very explicitly written out what is often the underlying expectation with dinner dates. At least from the guy's side. He doesn't really want to spend that money unless he's guaranteed something in return. Obviously, in the scenario of our example, if she ends up agreeing to this, she's effectively a paid prostitute, which is far from the desired relationship we want. But perhaps more interesting are the general dinner dates that are scheduled all around the world, straight from the Tinder or Instagram inbox of these girls. Because the vast majority of guys that go on these dates also have this expectation of her, essentially prostituting herself for dinner. You could say what our example did was a little bit better than that because he at least openly communicated with her, which doesn't happen that often. Guys literally go on these dates, pay for anything, and then get super mad and disappointed when they don't get sex in return. The real issue with dinner dates, especially early on, is the same as when you have a girl that lives really far away from you. When you decide to take her out for dinner or drive all the way to her, you've already invested far too much. These dates almost never end up being worth it. You immediately put her into a position of leverage. She can now say things you don't like, tell you about her guy friends, or slightly disrespect you, and you're way less likely to uphold your standards and just leave because you still want to get something out of your time or money investment afterwards. Simply put, investing this much is a bad frame. And to make matters worse, you become way more needy. Because if you go home without getting lucky, you feel like you lost your time and money. So you force out an extremely disappointing dry hand job to make it worth it, man. She regrets it afterwards because there wasn't any pleasure for her, and you'll never hear from her again. And even if you have a complete success with this strategy and you get the sex, you don't want to make sex a currency for her, where it's used to get a dinner. Because a few steps down the line, sex is used for good behavior, and you end up in this weird cuckold marriage that's actually more common than you think, with a wife that's trading blowjobs for how many times he took out his trash and cleaned after himself. So, don't go down this path at all. And you might think that in those relationships, the sexual spark is just gone anyway. But, paradoxically for a lot of men, women will become more like this and make escalation way harder for you if she already sees you invest a resource like money or time into her. And this is even going to heavily trigger a lot of the trad self-improvement guys we have following us, but even their creators like Hamza and so on talk about it in their paid program, so fuck it, man. If you've been an OG in this sort of red pill space, you might have heard the phrase, beta bucks, alpha fucks. So the beta male pays and the alpha male has sex, and it's absolutely true. There is a sliding scale to this, where on the left end is the provider and on the right end is the guy who fucks her. And the more of a provider you are to her, the less you are the guy she wants to fuck. She'll still want you, she'll probably still love you, but not in the same, almost dark, very sexualized way that she wants a guy who doesn't provide her anything besides good sex. You can probably almost imagine how that aspect of your sex appeal loses priority when she realizes you're also ready to invest resources into her. And just for clarification, I'm not saying you should be completely to the right. There are plenty of things the all-maxer does for his girlfriend that would be considered provider things. But in my honest opinion, the optimal way to do it is to stay far enough on the side of maximal sexual attraction first. And what do I mean by this? The escalation process should happen pretty quickly within 1 to 2 days. You don't invest many resources, you invite her to a coffee date max. And after you had sex, and only then, you can include some provider things, under the condition that it includes your self-interest. So if you get her a gift, this is a famous example from our server, Make it a necklace with your initials. Yeah, you got her a gift, but it's quite obvious how you would benefit from this as well. If you invite her to dinner, make sure you really want to go eat there anyway, and she can just come along as company. That way you can balance a long-term relationship without falling off to the provider end, where she ends up reminiscing about the fuckboy who just plowed her every couple weeks and moved on. This was a bit of a heavy video, but I hope you appreciate it, and don't make the same mistakes we all made. And always remember, make her cry at least once a week.